With X-Men 97 dropping, we kind of went down a little bit of nostalgia lane and got ourselves wondering, what do you think is the greatest animated series of all time? Let's rank them. All right, guys, we're back for Geek Friends to cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, and more. This time, animated series. Joining me, as always, the man, the myth, the Marvel at the bottom, Will, and our Dark Lord of DC, Tony, in the middle. Got a lot of great things covered for you guys already with X-Men 97 well underway. We decided let's visit Nostalgia Lane and start talking about a top 10 animated series of all time list. To get things started, we're going to pick on someone. They're going to give us 3. Next person's going to give us 3. And then another person's going to give us 3. We'll argue about that 10th spot, and then we will officially rank them. Since our boy is terrible, absolutely terrible,
and that means
making
Will.
lists because he doesn't like making definitive lists for whatever number of reasons.
That's right,
Will be dropping his 3 first. Rank them. And you can give any explanation as to why they're on there if you would like to.
I ain't giving you nothing. All right, freaking
Sassy already.
pretty much. Honestly, I have to go with Avatar, Batman, and The Simpsons. Those are my 3. No
Pull them up
particular
there. Pull them out.
Why don't you put them up there?
So that we know that they are, in fact, gone.
Because I don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
No.
Avatar.
Why don't you believe me?
Because you lie all the time.
And this list will change according to how things he feels. We'll just put them up there at 4 so you guys can see them for the meantime. I will jump in next because Tony always believes his list is the definitive list, and
I don't always. Hold on, I gotta take
good.
this one.
Yeah, you got to do a little bit of changing on yours. I believe number 1 will be pretty consensus, but for me, going based upon the list that I've created, because we follow lists when people ask for them around here. Let's go on and put on Justice League. Let's put on Adventure Time.
Wait, he's slow.
And then let's put on SpongeBob SquarePants. You can kind of see the age gap between the 3 of us. Justice League is a super definitive show. Adventure Time came around a little bit later, and SpongeBob is just a classic for classic's sake. The amount of memes, GIFs, and other stuff you can just pull just from between Adventure Time and SpongeBob is unheard of. Great shows. Tony, what 3 from your list would you like to add for our rank 'em?
All right, we'll go ahead and throw up X-Men animated series, the OG. Give me Justice League Unlimited. I will raise your Justice League to the next tier, my friend.
Both amazing series, can't go wrong.
Then throw up Young Justice, just because.
Which means we still have to decide upon which show we want to have fill out our 10th spot. Do you want me to open the argument, or how do we want to play this one?
I want you to open it because Will doesn't matter.
Because he didn't make a list.
He didn't make a list, so it doesn't matter.
For me, a show that I believe that is missing and pivotal here also falls under the beautiful DC animated department that Cartoon Network was doing, and I wish it got more seasons than it did. I would take the Teen Titans as my 10th if we were putting it up for a vote. Tony, how do you feel?
Honestly, I would actually go more to present day and something that I feel took the superhero genre to another level, and I would say Invincible.
Interesting counterpoint, which leaves us with Will. Is there one you'd like to submit, or are you going to decide with one of us and kind of make it a much easier debate for that 10th spot on that list.
Honestly,
He don't care.
I
He's
really
gonna throw
don't.
Futurama out
See?
there.
See, there are a lot of good shows to choose from.
There are a lot. That's why I can't make a definitive list. There's plenty of people who are going to agree with me that you can make a list of great shows, but definitive, no. I think everything had their own quirks for their own reasons, and stuff made sense. So no, I'm gonna just fill it out as we go. So y'all
So,
think we're at number 10? Run it.
okay, so it's either Teen Titans or Invincible.
It's not guaranteed, but carry on.
You didn't put nothing up there, so those are the two choices.
You have to either have a submission or you have to vote for one of these ones. Because
Nope. Nope.
that's
No, I don't. No, I don't. I do not. Nope.
the point of having him for a ranking system is just sometimes
Just to run the
lost
show.
on.
That's it. Because he don't offer anything else. He don't do nothing else.
Running
So
the show. You still already have a much better host.
Facts.
But hey, is
That's
what
why
it
that's why Iron Man sucks.
Show sucks.
Every show we got to get that in there. But if I had to argue about which one is better, this is a tough one because I mean these are two great shows. You can't go wrong either way if you're a new fan or an old fan. Teen Titans was probably a little bit worse than Invincible. I will give this one to you. Invincible only has a season and a half under its belt, but the quality in which it has put forth in this season and a half, I would take probably over most peak Teen Titans year and a half. So I would actually give Tony the nod on this one. As much as I love Teen Titans,
I was
it's a
going to
great
argue.
show.
I was
But
going to argue. I mean, I like. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like Teen Titans, but the problem is they brought out Young Justice, and it was an upgrade over Teen Titans. It's technically the same team. It's just an upgraded version, and that's why I couldn't say Teen Titans. That's just me.
I mean, I didn't mess with Young Justice like that. It took forever for me to get into it. But hey, if between these two shows, Invincible, I'll give you the nod.
I would have had Invincible higher on the list.
But you didn't, so get rid of Teen Titans
Your opinion is basically moot.
and leave Invincible at 10. Leave Invincible at 10 and get rid of Teen Titans.
Teen Titans is off the board. Because this was
Now-
kind of an add-on for
Now,
the
meat and
list.
potatoes. Here we go. I think we're unanimous when we say number one.
Batman, the animated series.
Pretty much.
It is goated for any number of reasons. The voice acting was legendary. The animation quality was great. The storylines were phenomenal. They wrapped things up within an episode, giving it deep meaning and impact. And they still had a higher arcing story that ran throughout on top of everything sub-story wise. What more could you want? Honestly, it was the definitive series of any generation, in my opinion, and in most of this panel's opinion.
Pretty much everybody's opinion.
Number two, things get a little bit dicier. This is probably where the arguments will start coming out.
Tight here. It gets so tight. I mean, for me, it's X-Men. I mean, when we argue the two greatest shows of all time, animated superhero shows of all time, it's always Batman the Animated Series, X-Men 92.
In the superhero animated genre.
In the superhero, yes.
But in the animated series all time, I cannot give X-Men this nod. But also, I wasn't the target audience for this. I will just be straight up with that. X-Men
You weren't even alive.
I wasn't even on this planet. So my knees and my back are still good. But as far as watching that show during its prime or its heyday, no. Absolutely not. I was not there for it.
I'm saying you had Batman, the animated series came out September 92. X-Men came out October 92. It was right there. It was a battle. It was a battle.
That's a glorious time to be alive. But for me, if I had to throw out a show that had more significant impact and one that just got a fairly good live action adaptation,
it was not fairly good. That show was great.
Avatar, The Last Airbender would be where I would go with two. The level of storytelling, the level of character growth, the subplots of honor and glory, family, uh, war, national pride, and still summing that up of trying to meet your expectations, be the best you, try and grow yourself, challenge yourself, push yourself to new heights. This show had it all, and if anyone watched Avatar: The Last Airbender and you did not cry at by the time Uncle Iroh had Tears of the Leaves, boy, were you even watching the show?
I didn't cry.
That had more emotional impact than anything X-Men 92 had, in my opinion, which can be, at times flawed. So
And
it's
that's
open
fine.
for interpretation.
But to me, the X-Men, when it came out, had more impact on its audience just because of everything that was covered in that show. Everything in that show at that time was actually something that was prevalent in the 90s. Your mutants were persecuted just like minorities. Everybody could identify with somebody in that show. Everybody has lived through something that somebody in that show has been through. And that's why I have to put it number 2. Even though it's only had 5 seasons. And I'm only going to argue that it had 4 seasons. 90% of that show you can relate to.
So you're saying there was a bad season,
I would say
and it's
after
supposed to be one
certain
of the greatest
writers,
series of all time?
yeah, it happens. All
Yeah,
Because
Avatar had a
Avatar was
bad
solid
movie.
start to finish. It was banger after banger
Batman the
after
animated
banger.
series, every episode was not a banger for Batman. Every episode was not a banger. They had some that you would rewatch, but it was a couple in there that you would skip. But when the X-Men, when they started getting canceled, a lot of people left that show. And when you lose certain writers and certain producers, quality goes down. It's very hard to keep the same people on the same show for the entirety of that show.
Which leaves us calling for the impartial third,
It's
who
not
now has to
impartial.
have a partial opinion on it. Will, your opinion stands firm. I will not argue with it. Put your
Yes, you
definitive
will.
at 2 based upon the 2 that have been presented.
Stop sucking up. You're going to argue. Booyah.
That is what it is. Those are great shows. I absolutely understand the logic behind it.
And I have nothing against
Avatar had
Avatar.
a deep impact on a lot of people, but at the same
But
time, as far as relatability race wise, that
you
was
couldn't
probably
do
the
it.
only thing it was missing. That's probably the only thing it was missing.
And I can't argue against it at 3. I can't argue against it at all because y'all got me onto Avatar. I didn't watch Avatar until, 4 years ago?
And boy, were you happy that you're able
And
to
I was
go out
like,
and find
okay,
it.
I can get through this. But that's just me.
Will, is there anything you'd like to say for that 4 spot? Anything you'd like to argue there? Or are you just going to let us
We can just move the
hash it
Simpsons
out?
all the way down to 9, though.
Yeah.
Simpsons, I just think should be on the list. Period. This is one of the longest episodic running shows of all time. It has been
Look,
for a reason. A lot of things have emulated it.
Stop
Yeah, but
saying
as
that.
far as greatest episodes of all time, The
I won't
Simpsons
say
doesn't
greatest
even equate
episodes.
to
I think one of the
anything.
greatest
First
shows.
of all,
It's on
stop
the list.
saying
It's like
the
putting Monday
longest.
Night Raw in here
No.
just because they've run for a long time. No,
Stop
that's
saying
not
The
how this
Simpsons
works.
is the longest running. The only reason it's the
I said
longest running,
running.
the only reason that is because it used to be a short in other shows.
I
They
know.
didn't have full episodes. They used to have shorts. That's the only reason.
I remember it.
So
I
drop
remember.
that. In fact, drop it down to 10 and move Invincible up to 9.
I can do that. I
How
can
about
do
I'm
that?
100% in agreement with that. I am
And
fine
I'm
with how
pretty
that's
sure
going.
Invincible might move up some more just because I'm going to argue for that one.
I'm definitely going to argue against Young Justice. That's the only one on this series where I was bored enough to put it down and not pick it back up.
That's your Teen Titans right there.
No, my Teen Titans was the original Teen Titans. I didn't need this expanded team to be drawn in. You had me with these 5 characters. Their stories were compelling enough that I believe they were
But
better
see,
than
what
Young Justice.
ruined for Teen Titans is they had different iterations of Teen Titans. You had Teen Titans, then you had that Teen Titans Go, which ruined the entire series for me.
Young Justice is literally just Teen Titans Go in my mind.
No,
It's just an
watch
expanded
your mouth.
team of people I
watch
don't
your
care
mouth.
about.
Young Justice is literally Justice League Junior. That's literally what it is. They took all of the side. Literally, the first episode, they
But
took all
none
the
of the quality.
sidekicks, and made them their own team. Literally, that was the first
None of the
episode.
quality.
It's better than Young Justice. Young Justice is better than Teen Titans.
Mm-mm. Absolutely cannot agree to that. But that's why we also have our own personal spot while we're here on the subject, so we don't get off on a tangent. As far as number 4 is concerned, this is going to go between what, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, correct?
Pretty much.
That's basically
Pretty much.
whichever one you have that personal preference for, because both were bangers. Let's
Both.
just
Agree.
put that out there.
But you want to
Splitting
go
hairs
first?
on this one.
We have to split hairs because they're literally the exact same cartoon.
They are literally the exact same cartoon. It's just based upon the continuation. Which storylines did you think were better? And I personally was with Justice League, the original, more. But again, Justice League Unlimited, their stories were solid.
And the
It was
thing
hard
that
to go again.
what I can
Justice League had to
argue,
start it, which I think was the harder part. But at
and
the
you did
same
get
time,
great
Unlimited got
moments,
better from there.
but you did get great moments in Justice League. But then you got more flushed out characters in Unlimited. Because you had episodes in Unlimited where you had Shaggy Man, General Wade Island, as they called him on Unlimited, but he's Shaggy Man, where he fought the Justice League, but it wasn't Superman in them. It was the backups. And then you had to see the teamwork from everybody to come try to take this man down. And all of the characters in that episode got flushed out.
Because the amount of great stories that came out of just these two shows, period, great. Fantastic. I will sit down and rewatch them if they pop up on a YouTube feed anytime. Let's go with Unlimited at 4. And we'll put at 5 Justice League, the original.
You know what? I could do Shenanigans and I could leave them both at 4.
I was going to say leave them both at 4.
I said I can argue both at 4.
There's a continuation. Like it again, it's the same series. Like there's no point in trying.
But you can't take off one without having the other because it's just you can't. I would say leave them both at 4.
It's Shenanigans, so we shall allow it because that's what we do around here. And then this is where age gap is going to show in its strongest format.
Yep, because I have not watched Adventure Time at all.
So Adventure Time's world building is next level. Their character voice acting is impeccable. The amount of shenanigans that happen in the show, Tony, are beyond any show that I've seen, period. It makes Gumball look like it's a sane show. Adventure Time is perfect in so many senses of what the millennial growing up cartoon should be. I didn't start like even caring about this show till like 2 years ago. Someone else was like, "Hey, watch this. I think you'll like it." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" I guess the animation style I thought was weird. The more and more you watch it, next thing you know, you start falling in love with the lore. You start falling in love with the world building. The voice acting is A1 because we have literally so many characters from Futurama, from your what's it? Your Highness? Is that the? It's not Your Highness. It's the other one that was running on Netflix for a little bit while. Basically, the voice of the King, voice of Bender. He is Jake the dog. That's how you know this show has already got some great voice actors on it. You already had a couple people from Star Trek voice characters. You had a deep, deep roster of people bringing out a lot of great qualities in the show. And I would argue it over SpongeBob, even though SpongeBob ran for significantly longer. And as far as music bangers go, SpongeBob could be argued at 1 for some of the best musical songs from children's animated series ever.
I'm just
because of how many they made.
I'll say Adventure Time 5 because 1, I hate SpongeBob. I'm
You're not ready.
SpongeBob.
I've watched SpongeBob. I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of SpongeBob at all. So yeah, we can drop. I leave Adventure Time at 5.
Young Justice got to be coming down.
I've watched both of these, and I'll go with Adventure just because of shenanigans. Yeah, Adventure Time was fun. So at that, because Futurama is one of my favorite shows. So at that, well,
I'm telling you now, I'm not voting none for SpongeBob. So Young Justice is 6, just because I just hate SpongeBob. I think it's stupid.
I hate Young Justice. I would take Invincible over both of these.
I just think SpongeBob is stupid. I do.
It's not supposed to be an intelligent show. It's a kid show. This is an animated series that has long-standing passion. This was the only show from Nickelodeon that was strong enough to keep up with this Cartoon Network lineup. Because if you scroll up, Cartoon Network, Cartoon Network, Cartoon Network. Nickelodeon snuck one in with Avatar, and then boom, Cartoon Network, Cartoon Network.
Let me explain my thought process.
They were hitting back in the day.
I understand that, but and I get this from my kids because they grew up watching SpongeBob, and then all of a sudden they stopped, and I was like, why aren't you watching SpongeBob anymore? I outgrew it. That right there tells me if you look at our top 5, do you outgrow any of those top 5 shows?
You probably
Okay.
should outgrow Adventure Time, but you just don't because the shenanigans and adult humor that is shoved in there at random times is
And
really,
my
really
kids,
well done.
they watched them. You watched SpongeBob for like 6 years, and then next thing I know, they was like, "Eh." It used to be come out. Let's watch SpongeBob. Okay, boom. I watch it, and I'm like, I hate the show. Next thing I know, hey, y'all want to watch SpongeBob? No. And when you tell me you've outgrown the show, that lets me know, yeah, I can't.
SpongeBob wouldn't have been on this list for me at all.
So it sounds like SpongeBob loses this to Young
Because of a
Justice.
2 out of 3 vote.
It
So
doesn't. It's facts. I mean, I've argued if I told you that somebody outgrew something, then that automatically puts a chink in that armor, right or
I
wrong.
outgrew Young Justice because I put it down.
You didn't finish
It's
Young
the
Justice
only
because
series I
it's the,
started and did
it's a
not finish.
difference. It's a difference between not liking the show and outgrowing
I
the show.
disliked it enough not to watch it.
Will, we see what you're doing. We see, William.
And I'm
Huh?
absolutely okay with this. I'll take Invincible all
You
day,
know what?
every day
I
over
I
this.
would
Because it's the only one that we unanimously agree
that,
upon.
and that's about how high I
better.
could go. Since I haven't seen Adventure Time, I can't compare the two.
You
So
should
you
watch
two would
the
have
Adventure Time. It is top tier quality.
you two would have to compare those two shows to see if Invincible moves up. I can't.
I would take Invincible over Young
I've
Justice
watched
and
both,
SpongeBob.
and I think this is fine. Like I can watch this.
Subject to change. If Invincible does 3 solid seasons, I'll move them up.
Okay.
But
So
now
as
we
of
are
right
on
now,
season
this
and
is
half.
what you're good for.
Oh yeah. And then, do we want to get into our honorable mentions since 9 is technically SpongeBob because we have that tie? At
Yeah, you
4.
can move 9. You can move SpongeBob down to 9. In fact, you could put The Simpsons above SpongeBob.
You could not.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you
could.
could.
Yes, you could.
Damn.
Yes, you
2 out of
could.
3 votes. 2
It's
out of
not
3
even 2 out of
votes.
3. It's like, yeah, The Simpsons is better than SpongeBob.
It's like this. Honestly, this freaking, and I don't know if y'all ever watched Futurama. This right here for me.
Yeah, but Futurama got canceled like 6 times.
Yeah, so no, you can't do that.
It got canceled freaking and it came back. It got canceled. It came back. So that it was ridiculous the amount.
It was a great show, but it wasn't good enough to stay because it kept getting canceled.
It was a
That's
great
the way
show.
it
So
was.
that, but I put this as far as Deadpool concerned, where they broke the fourth wall a lot. As
Yes, they
far
did.
as like it was fun, and so and they related to so much stuff. Their
So-
cancellation, everything.
What
And
I'm
it's made by the
hearing,
same creator. Like
so what I'm hearing is we could take
Is that
off
Will has an
SpongeBob.
opinion, but he
We could
didn't
take off
put in a
SpongeBob
list.
and put on Futurama. That's what I'm hearing.
I would.
You would, but you'd have to make a list to do that,
Facts.
which you did not.
Well, I make
take
my list of
Futurama out of here.
process.
It'll be your honorable mention. Because we all
Okay,
have
so
stuff on our
you
list
take
that
off-
did
take
not
off-
make it.
Take out. Wait. Okay, so this is what we're doing. Everybody put that one up that you want to fill that last spot. So Will, I guess Futurama is for you.
That would be your honorable mention.
Look, I will leave it here as an honorable mention and so with that. If
No,
y'all-
it's something has to go into 8.
I know.
Put it up there at 8.
What would you put in there? What would you put in?
Me,
Yeah,
Spider-Man,
yeah.
OG Spider-Man.
The OG Spider-Man.
I mean, those in the 90s, bro. That was like your weekend. That was it. That was it.
You was in front of that TV with your bowl of cereal, and you was
Period. And that was it.
You was ready to go. Like Spider-Man was not gonna not make this list for me at all. Like
So yeah.
I mean, look at the chair. It was there. It was literally going to be called out at some point in time.
And what's messed up is, even though we had the 90s could say were arguably the best for superhero cartoons, if you go back to the 80s, if you go back to my childhood with Hanna-Barbera, you could make a top 10 list with just Hanna-Barbera.
yeah,
Hanna-Barbera is
Hanna-Barbera
goated as far as
was
animation.
7 a.m. to noon every Saturday. It just ran. You got up, you sat in front of the TV, you left your parents alone until noon on Saturday. It was just glorious. But that's a
I
tangent.
left Hanna-Barbera off this list because we could have a whole separate thing up there.
It's
I left
too much.
anime off this list because it's a whole separate thing as well.
Oh, if we get into anime,
I can't do that. I'll be the moderator.
You would just be pushing for shenanigans left,
Sailor
right, and
Moon,
center.
Ronin Warriors, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam. Like
I know those two,
Pokemon,
Dragon Ball and Gundam.
like
I don't
Like,
like
and then
Pokemon.
Jujutsu Kaisen's slowly fighting its way up there. You still haven't touched Demon Slayer. You still haven't touched Hell's
Well, I'm
Paradise.
just
Like,
talking about
there's
for
so many
Ben.
And
things
you
up
I
you
would
there.
have to,
still
I would have to do this in eras before freaking I get to the point of ranking them all together.
haven't taken Futurama off. I'm just saying it's
I don't
still
think he's
there.
going to. I think because he's the creator of the list, we're stuck there. We already know what my honorable mention would be because I have stuff that's not on the list. We just want stuff that's on our list
Which
that's
one?
not
Which one
on
would you
there.
put up here if you had to?
We already argued about it. It was Teen Titans because I take Teen Titans over Young Justice any day. But at the same time, I understood your argument and your
I
opinion
would
with a
take
deeper
Teen
roster
Titans.
and let it be what it is.
I would take Teen Titans over SpongeBob. I'm just saying.
As far as cultural impact, unfortunately, SpongeBob had a significantly higher one than Teen Titans did.
Made people
Unfortunately,
stupid. Made people stupid.
I'm just saying, both are great shows, but
But Futurama's still up there though.
it's like in the fact that even on my list, Gargoyles,
I had
Batman Beyond,
that. I had that.
Thundercats,
I
Ed
I
and
wish I
Eddie,
had
and
that.
Samurai Jack didn't make a list. That's how you know this is a tough list.
Yeah, Samurai,
Thunder. I had to leave
Samurai Jack,
Thundercats off.
I had a moment because in my head I naturally went towards anime with that, even though it falls under like same with Avatar, I think, and everything. So I was thrown for a minute. That was just me slipping, but yeah, Samurai Jack was definitely one of the great ones.
You can
Thundercats
definitely
would
tell
have
I
been
wasn't
better.
impartial with it because I didn't put Star Wars anywhere on here, even though the Clone Wars
Thundercats
was
to
a banger.
me, Thundercats to me would have made the list if they didn't have more Thundercats come down.
Yeah,
If they kept with the earth, yeah.
Yeah, when they brought in Snarfer and his crew, that I was like,
Snarf was just the most annoying,
Snarf was
unnecessary
fine.
character.
Snarf was fine, but when you brought in Snarfer
I would have thrown him
and
right
then
out
the
there.
other 5 Thundercats, I was like, bruh, this is like, okay, the quality there went down,
And
it went
Batman
down
Beyond
way.
had no business being as good as it was. I'm just saying it should not have
Will
been as
stop
great as
adding
it was.
stuff.
I'm just showing it like this. Calm down.
Mhm.
Nothing else is being added past SpongeBob here.
Yeah.
You could take off SpongeBob for anybody else in that bottom tier.
No, just realize,
Just
hey,
tell me your children annoyed
It's-
you with SpongeBob a lot.
They did. It was like, oh my god, that dude is annoying.
this was absurdly violent for no reason, and I loved it.
And we're just gonna keep putting things
And-
up there.
Yo, let's just talk about some agendas here. Just saying. People were like, oh, they're pushing an agenda with nowadays cartoons. Do you remember him from Powerpuff Girls? The devil that was basically cross-gendered? Okay.
He was
But
all
I'm just
genders.
saying this
all genders.
agenda, quote unquote, I'm throwing around air quotes here.
You have
People have had weird characters forever. And let's not even talk about Cow and Chicken. That's a whole nother subject.
What
A
about
whole nother
Chicken,
day.
Ren and
That's not the
Stimpy,
shenanigans that we're
Cat
doing.
dog.
Cat Dog,
Cat
There were
dog. Come
so
on
many
now.
weird shows.
Rocco's
growing
Modern
up.
Life.
Oh yes.
Like there's so many things that
Courage. Courage the Cowardly
Courage
Dog.
Cowardly Dog. Yeah, like
Which is getting its own horror game, by the way.
It needs to.
I'm just saying, like, Lake Quack is probably
Futurama.
one of my favorite characters.
You miss Futurama again.
He's going to leave that up there. That's his considerable honorable mention, regardless of the fact he should have taken it over Simpsons because Futurama's quality was higher than The Simpsons, but for some reason, The Simpsons is never canceled just because its longevity means it has to be good, which is not how things are translated, just so we're all aware.
Agreed.
future.
You could move The Simpsons to 10 and Futurama to 9 and destroy SpongeBob.
Or Young Justice could go in the garbage pile.
Young Justice is too high up there. We're talking about the bottom tier.
I love how Spider-Man just got shoved in at 8, just above everything, even though it wasn't added as an original, and Will still thinks no one noticed that.
I knew it was coming. Like I knew it.
You knew I was going to say it.
There was
You know I
no.
was gonna say it.
It was in there.
But yet you didn't mention you would mention the Simpsons over it.
Oh yeah.
This is why you're not allowed to make a list
Shenanigans.
every single time.
I hate
Let's
you
scroll
all.
up for those who are still keeping track and made it almost to the 30-minute portion of this video.
Scroll up,
Or
Will.
He's
He's not paying attention.
He's like, scroll up. So, for our ranking list, Batman, the Animated Series, X-Men, 92, Avatar, The Last Airbender, Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited tied at 4, so technically we have a top 11 because why not? Shenanigans always ensue. Adventure Time, sitting in the top 5. Invincible at 6. If it has a season and a half better, we'll put it over Adventure Time. Young Justice is too high in my opinion, but it's up
Shut
there
up.
at 7. Spider-Man at 8, even though I didn't actually watch a lot of it. I would have taken Static Shock over that any day.
Oh no, no,
The
no, 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 no,
Simpsons
no, no,
and
no, no.
Futurama sitting at 9. That's where our age gap is. And then at 10, we have
No reason.
SpongeBob,
For no reason.
Tony's favorite,
Shit.
SquarePants.
No. You made me curse. I
One
hate
of
you.
the greatest shows, period. Thank you for your guys' time. Be sure to hit that lovely Reddit subscribe button. Put your list in the comments below. Tell us what we got right. Tell us what we got wrong. Tell me that SpongeBob is better than Iron Man because he
and-
sucks.